whereas the safety measures and everything else that we do tends to be more of those backlying issues that people don't see so readily, in light of what transpired, unfortunately, with Virginia Tech last spring.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. What kind of things are, or is public safety doing to prevent something like that happening on campus here at PUC?
Everything that we reasonably can do.
Which is?
As an example, after the tragedy, we immediately had a meeting called by the president that not only my department was involved with, but many departments across campus, to really look at everything that's transpiring that we do for the betterment of the institution, for the campus populace, and keeping everybody safe. And out of that, we have started to readdress issues. Not that they weren't addressed before, but just to critically look at what we do and how we do it, and is there ways that we can do it better. And one thing that did grow out of those discussions is the new text messaging system that is available here on our campus.
Now, who's in charge of the whole text messaging thing? This is apparently how I text message. Who's in charge of the whole text messaging thing? I mean, is Osborne going to send me a message, hey buddy, don't come to campus, or how does that work?
How does it work? It basically is a system that's grown out of our IT department, and that staff has done an excellent job to getting this system up online and functional in a very short amount of time, and one that does work. It works good. The way it actually works is as many folks on our campus as possible, get them to register their cell phone numbers into the system, because that's crucial. If you don't have your number into the system, you won't be receiving a message. It's only to those folks that actually register online to the system. And then once folks are in there, there are actually 3 entities that can send out the message. One is myself out of the Public Safety Department, administration, and the college's safety officer, risk manager, which is Bill Cochran.
How do we know this won't become just another PUC spam kind of thing?
Well, because
the cell phones within at least the last year or so here on campus have grown. I mean, with the new Verizon tower that went in last year, how is this affecting? Yeah, how is this going to affect us? Who's in charge of this? I mean, who's Big Brother to us?
Who's Big Brother to you? On this system, it is a completely independent and isolated system from any of the college's other systems, including the whole announce system. And with that, the college has the utmost commitment to make sure that this is so vital to providing proper and timely emergency notification to the student body that it is promised the student body these cell phones, when registered into the system, go only into the system, and this system
emergency only.
Emergency only.
All right.
And they will never be utilized for anything other than an emergency notification.
It's like the special key at DEF CON going levels. All right, let's move on.
Sure.
With the cost of permanent parking's increased, why have new parking spots not increased?
Physical space parameters. Unless we actually take a bulldozer to a hillside somewhere and create new space.
Can we do that?
Well, everything comes with a price tag, so depending on where we want to spend the money too, obviously.
All right.
But every space upon our campus that is reasonably capable of being a space has been done so. Over the 7 years that I've worked here, I've always looked at different areas in the campus that we may be able to tweak it just a little bit and maybe glean a few more spaces out of. The most recent one that transpired at the start of last school year was 5 additional parking spaces for our community students along Angwin Avenue, coming up from the church up to Davidian Hall. We looked at the curbing, we looked at some of the red zones, and realized we could make some very small, slight changes, and we were able to pull in 5 more spaces along that roadway. And in addition, when the laundry shut down, we converted all of those A parking into community spaces. That gave us 19 more spaces. And that all went for the benefit of the student body. Now
let me ask you this. With Triad, I know this is a big issue and everyone's been talking about it around here. With Triad coming in with the land development deal, how will this affect residents? I mean, because what I understand from the plans, that whole spot through by Chanshan, Newton, Granger, and Financial.
The Glade.
Yeah, the Glade is going to be turned into a walkway. No parking spaces at all.
Right.
So we're cutting out all of those just to make a walkway. How is that going to affect the residents?
Well, that is actually a very good question. I do know what the philosophies are and what the direction is. Our campus historically has been a walking campus. We don't propone it to be anything other than a walking campus. However, obviously people try to drive whenever possible. Well, what the new development is going to do is take that philosophy that the college already has and actually make it into more of a substantial issue. So the idea is there is ample parking for everyone, but Triad's project is trying to take the parking and move it to the perimeter, not to the core campus. So the core campus becomes more of that walking, stereotypical type campus that you see on some of the larger universities, and all of the traffic goes to the perimeter.
How would you, as a public safety director, feel about it, like a tram system? What if we had a little tram system that went around, you know, PUC?
I think that and many other options are on the table, being looked at critically. I was involved with Napa County looking at tram-type systems that would provide service between Angwin and the rest of the valley floor. And so I can tell you that not only is PUC looking at these issues, but even the county is. And they're trying to find what's the best means to provide service. And obviously there's cost factors. Traditional bus service, maybe a traditional type of tram service may not be plausible, but definitely everything's on the table and being critically looked at to see what can be implemented.
I have just a few final questions for you. And tell me briefly about the new emergency services program. What is it and what does it do?
Okay. That new program is an excellent step, I feel, for Pacific Union College.
All right.
Basically, what is transpiring is education and training that has happened in our local community for decades, and trying to move it now out of just extra types of training, but into now a formalized curriculum where an individual who wants to get into this type of an arena can take these courses and leave PUC with now a degree beyond just a certificate of training for a specific little module.
What kind of training are we talking about here? The
way it's set up right now is, first of all, a 2-year program that's emphasizing emergency field medicine at the EMT level.
So this would be an AS?
This is an Associate of Science, yes, AS degree. And the college is taking it very methodically, and this is a great way of doing it, is they started first on formalizing the 2-year degree. And as the 2-year degree is now started, all the processes are being worked on to convert the 2-year degree and add to it into a 4-year also. And so I said convert, but basically it's to add on, because the 2-year degree won't go away. There'll still be a 2-year associate degree.
So you're hoping to expand it in years to come.
Exactly. And what's going to happen on the 4-year component is to move beyond the EMT, the emergency medical technician level, up to the level of a paramedic. And so when a person leaves PUC, they will actually have a paramedic license, and they'll have a 4-year bachelor's degree in emergency services. Beyond, now, one moment.
Oh, go ahead.
Because there's one more piece to it, and I want to make sure you have the full picture.
Please do tell.
Is that beyond these 2 levels is the college has commitments to move into fire science. Because emergency medical technician, fire training, these are things that have been done in our community for decades. And it's now a chance for PUC to embody that and move it into a bona fide educational program.